If you want to become a data analyst, then you are at the right place. For a data analyst, learning SQL is usually the first step. In this 2-hour course, I will take you through learning the basic SQL to the most advanced SQL using the real-world data set. And trust me, if you can complete this 2-hour course, you can qualify any of the data analyst interview and you can do any kind of data analyst job. I have over 18 years of IT experience in the Data Literate project. And believe me, SQL is the most used language in such kind of project. Almost 90% of our time is spent in retrieving the data and understanding the data. And for that, we need to have a SQL knowledge. If you have never written an SQL in your life, then this is the time to learn it. In this course, we will cover the following. We will start with the concept of database and SQL, and we will do installation of database and developer tools for both database like Oracle and MySQL. You can choose to work on either Oracle or MySQL, or you can choose to install both. We will start with the simple queries and we will proceed to the complex SQL queries. We will start with select and where clause, pattern matching, order by clause, and then we will do some advanced SQL like group by having clause, joins, and we will do some interview question. In entire course duration, we will be working with the real world data sets, which is company and market fact data. And then we will do SQL programming in R and Python console, and we will be doing some plots as follows for our data analysis and visualization. And thereafter, we will also be doing a database integration with R and Python so that you can directly fetch the data from database like Oracle or MySQL. So see you there. Let us now understand the concept of database. So here I am drawing a typical database server. It is a collection of data stored on a hard disk or a server. So hard disk can be your laptop, it can be computer, or it can be actual server. To provide a more consistent view of data, a RDBMS, which is known as Relation Database Management System, was invented. The example of RDBMS is Oracle, MySQL, IBM DB2. The most common way of storing the data and managing is using the column row structure, and that is what the RDBMS does. Let's take an example. Suppose if you go to a bank and you meet the branch manager and ask for the account information like your account statement for the last month. So what the bank manager is going to do is he's going to input your account information like your account number, your name, your any of the ID. So what the system is going to do is going to search across the database server and fetch the account statement for the last month. Let us now go through the SQL concept. A SQL is a structured query language to retrieve the data with a specified condition. When a user wants to get the information from the database, he can issue a query to retrieve the data. Remember our example of a customer going to the bank where he requested the bank manager to retrieve the data of his account for the last month. So when the bank manager issued the command, the program in the system went through all the records and he selected the specified record with the specified condition. The record retrieve will be displayed and printed for the client. Let us take another example. Suppose you go to a store and where you did some purchasing and you swipe your card on the swiping machine. So what the swipe machine does, it will read the card information and it will search across the database server of your account balance, and accordingly it will deduct the account balance from your card. So what happens here is that the swipe machine will read the card info and retrieve the data of your card from the data. Now here it is a typical process flow diagram for fetching the data from the database server. So what happened here is this is the database server and this is the SQL engine. So what happened here is that from here the user is going to issue a SQL command, and from the SQL engine is going to fetch the data from the database server and it will retrieve the output to the user machines. So now what are the types of SQL command? There are typically two kinds of SQL command. The one is the data definition language and second is the data manipulation language. The data definition language is used to create and modify the schema of the database, and commands like create, alter, and drop are part of this language. Data manipulation language is the command to retrieve, modify, delete the data. So as a data analyst, you're going to spend most of your time in the manipulation language. Hello friend, let's get our hand dirty. And now we are going to install the Oracle database or MySQL database. But first, we have to choose which one to install. So first let us see why Oracle. Oracle is widely used in most of the finance industries to store the critical information. It has the ability to scale, to support the intensive workload, and it can store millions and billions of data. So mostly it is used in enterprise level client like insurance and banks. And following are some of the Fortune 100 companies that uses Oracle like Walmart, Sears Holding, Google, Chevron, NASA, and many leading banks. However, if you are going to install the Oracle, it will slow down the laptop because of the RAM limitation. On the other hand, MySQL is open source and provides the high-speed database system for a smaller projects and for small data and small data size. That is why MySQL is perfect for installation on the local PC if the RAM size is not good. Most of the small companies rely on MySQL, and this is great for practicing SQL queries. So for your information, the SQL syntax in both Oracle and MySQL is almost similar, and in our course, we are going to install the Oracle. However, you may also choose to install the MySQL, and the document for the installation of MySQL can be downloaded from the following session. So let us now become a construction worker to install the database. Let us now understand the table structure which we are going to use in the upcoming session. So we are going to use 6 tables which are employee, department, department location, works on, dependent, and project. If you see here, employee is connected to department, works on, and dependent. And department on the other hand is connected to department location, and project is linked to works on. These all tables are interlinked to each other by way of primary key and foreign key. Employee has a serial number of the employee which is connected to department, works on, and dependent. And department is connected to department location based on the department number, and project also based on department number. Project and works on are connected to each other by way of project number. Let us now see the actual table structure and their data. Now here we have an actual table name, their columns, and their records. These all records and data we are going to upload into our database. If you see, the employee is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around 8 employees. Department is having, there are 3 departments in the department table. Department location, there are 5 records, and likewise there are records on the works on, project, and dependent. So here if you see, employee is connected to a department by a department number. You see department number, and there's a department number here. So these two are linked to each other. Department location and department are linked to each other by way of department number, this column and this column. Works on is connected to employee based on the ESSN, and in under the employee table, SSN is the column which are referring to ESSN in the works on. Project is connected to department by department number column, and again this project is connected to works on by way of project number. Dependent table is connected to employee table again by ESSN column. Hi there. Let us now go through the installation of MySQL database and MySQL Workbench. For this, you can go to your favorite browser and you can type your MySQL download. Click open the first option, MySQL download. Scroll down, and here we are concerned about MySQL community download, which is a freeware, is a free license given by Oracle to the community. Scroll down. So here click on the MySQL community server. So as soon as you click my community server, here you have an option. Select operating system. Here I select Microsoft Windows. You can choose depending on your own operating system, but our course covers only Microsoft Windows. So scroll down. So here you will see several options, but don't go here. You have to click it, go to download page. So on the go to download page, you will again see two options here, and our operating system that we have selected was Microsoft Windows. So you can select either one of them. If you have a high speed internet, you can choose to download the 24.4 MB file. But if your internet is slow, then you have to download 420.6 MB file. Because if you choose to download the first option, it will try to install directly from the web, from the internet. But if you download 420.6 M file, it will download from your local system. So click on the download and it will start downloading. So when the download is complete, you can see in your download folder, which is MySQL installer community. In the next section, we will go through the installation. So here is my downloaded file. So double click it to open. It will take about 1 minute time to open. So here it is, the MySQL installer. So here we have several options, like first the developer default. So where you can see MySQL server, SQL shell, router, Workbench, Excel, Visual Studio connector. So if you want to install all this, you can select this one, developer default. But we will be doing the selection of the full. So we want to install everything which comes with this package. So click on the next. So here it will show some warning messages. So this is the requirement which is needed. So here it will show some warning message, just ignore. Okay, the important thing to note here is that it should display MySQL server, MySQL Workbench, MySQL notifier, etc. If these products are not displayed, it means there are some related software which is missing, which is mostly Visual Basic C++. So those software you need to install and then you have to come here again. Now this installation is going to take about 15 to 20 minutes of time. I will be doing fast forwarding. So here all the installation is completed. So click on the next. So now here is going to configure MySQL server, MySQL router, and samples and example one by one. So choose the first option, standalone MySQL server. Click on the next. So here my configuration type is development computer and port is 3306. So keep everything as default. Do not change anything here. Click on the next. So here you have to mention a password for the database. Note that you should remember the password after typing it. So you can keep some simple password. After typing the password, just note it down somewhere so that you don't forget. Now this password belongs to the main user, which is a root user. Now in the below option, in my user account, you can add the user of your choice. So I am adding one user, user1. So host, so if it is a server, then you can define the host here. A role I will give it as a DB, database administrator, and give the password here. Just select all host because I want to make the user as a database administrator. Click on the next here. Okay, now here it will add in your service name. So during the startup, you can recognize it by MySQL 80. If you want to change the name, then you can change the name here. Otherwise, keep it as default. Select on the start MySQL server and then click on execute. So here is going to take about 3 to 4 minute time. Okay, the configuration has been completed successfully for MySQL server. Click on the finish. So now it will start for the next product, which is MySQL router. So here keep everything as default, do not change anything here. Click on the finish, click on the next. So here it will ask for the password that you have entered just now. So enter the same password and click on the check. If it is successful, the color will change to green. Make sure it should display connection succeeded. Click on the next and execute it. It will take about 2 minutes time here. Click on the next. So select both the option so that it starts as soon as you finish. So now it is the MySQL shell. So if it is displaying and if it displays this message, so it means your MySQL installation is successful. So now here it will also open the MySQL Workbench. So in the next session we will go through MySQL Workbench. Let us now go through the basics of SQL Workbench. So go to the start and then click MySQL Workbench, open it. As soon as you open, you can see the local instance MySQL 80. Remember, we installed MySQL 80 as a service name there, and my user was root, which is the main user, and the host of this database is your local system. That is why it shows local host, and the port was 3306. Just double click it to open it. So it will ask for the password here. Write down the same password that you have written before. Click OK. So it will open the SQL editor here. So here is showing some schemas here, but if you are opening for the first time, you will be able to see this management navigator. So here you can see several options like data export, data import, restore, startup, shutdown, etc. We are more concerned about the schemas. So by default, MySQL has given us 3 schemas, which is Sakila, Sys, and Word schema. If you click it, you can see within each schema you can see different objects. So this is table. Then within each table you can further drill down to its individual attributes like columns, indexes, foreign key, and triggers. As soon as you start typing, MySQL will auto default the schemas here. So we are having 3 schemas. First is Sakila dot. So I'm querying here select star from Sakila dot actor. This actor belongs to the schema Sakila. Now other schema is Word schema, where we have city, country, and country language as the 3 tables. You can also see other options like stored procedure and functions. Note that in the upcoming session, I'll be writing the queries on the Oracle, and you may choose to write the queries on MySQL or Oracle. So it is up to you. But note that if you decide to install the Oracle in your system, your RAM size should be higher. I recommend around 8 GB RAM. Otherwise, your laptop or your desktop will slow down. MySQL is the lighter version. So if your RAM is not 8 GB or if your bit size is not 64 bit, I recommend it to keep on using MySQL, as there is not much difference between the two. Oracle is used for enterprise applications, but MySQL can be used for the smaller database. So in our entire exercise, we will be just simply writing the SQL queries, for which we can do on both Oracle and MySQL. Let us now go through the basics of SQL Workbench. So go to the start and then click MySQL Workbench, open it. As soon as you open, you can see the local instance MySQL 80. Remember, we installed MySQL 80 as a service name there, and my user was root, which is the main user, and the host of this database is your local system. That is why it shows local host, and the port was 3306. Just double click it to open it. So it will ask for the password here. Write down the same password that you have written before. Click OK. So it will open the SQL editor here. So here is showing some schemas here, but if you are opening for the first time, you will be able to see this management navigator. So here you can see several options like data export, data import, restore, startup, shutdown, etc. We are more concerned about the schemas. So by default, MySQL has given us 3 schemas, which is schema, sys, and word schema. If you click it, you can see within each schema you can see different objects. So this is table. Then within each table you can further drill down to its individual attributes like columns, indexes, foreign key, and triggers. As soon as you start typing, MySQL will auto default the schemas here. So we are having 3 schemas. First is schema dot. So I'm querying here select star from schema dot actor. This actor belongs to the schema schema. Now other schema is word schema, where we have city, country, and country language as the 3 tables. You can also see other options like stored procedure and functions. Note that in the upcoming session, I'll be writing the queries on the Oracle, and you may choose to write the queries on MySQL or Oracle. So it is up to you. But note that if you decide to install the Oracle in your system, your RAM size should be higher. I recommend around 8 GB RAM. Otherwise, your laptop or your desktop will slow down. MySQL is a lighter version. So if your RAM is not 8 GB or if your bit size is not 64 bit, I recommend it to keep on using MySQL, as there is not much difference between the two. Oracle is used for enterprise applications, but MySQL can be used for the smaller database. So in our entire exercise, we will be just simply writing the SQL queries, for which we can do on both Oracle and MySQL. Let us now go through some basic construct of the SQL queries, and we'll try to understand the SQL structure. So my first SQL query is select fname, lname from employee. So here we are trying to select 2 columns from the employee table. So here there are 2 things to understand. First, under the select statement, you have to write down the column which you want to select, and from you have to write the source table. Second query we are writing is select star from employee, where sex is equal to M and salary is greater than 30,000. So what does this query mean? Star here, we are going to select all the columns. The table is the employee, and we are going to select all the male employees where the salary is more than 30,000. So we are having 2 filter condition. So before we proceed further, let us now create some tables which is known as the DTL commands, and for those tables we are going to insert the records. As you know, insert a records the DML command. So once we have done that, we can actually start writing the SQL queries on the SQL developer. In this session, we are going to create a mini database for company. So click open MySQL Workbench, enter the password here for the user root, and then we are going to create the schema called company. The schemas are basically a partition in the database to store the information of the similar nature. So like we already have existing schema of schema and Word database, we are going to create another schema called company. Just apply here. Click on the apply again. Finish it. So our schema company is created successfully. So you can also see on the left side of the navigation, which is the company. Now here, before executing any script, you have to make company as a default schema. So now you need to download the MySQL create insert command script which I have attached, and then from here you copy all these scripts which include the DDL command and DML command, meaning we are going to create a new table for company. We are going to insert the records so that we can practice our SQL. I'll copy each and every. I'm going to copy all the script here. So at the end you can see the alter table for employee where we are adding the foreign key. So make the company and the default schema here, and then paste it here. Paste the scripts here. Okay, now do Control A to select all the script and then click to execute. So it will start executing the scripts. Once the script has been completed successfully, the buffering on the top query 1 will stop. So it has been completed successfully. And the last and important step is to do the commit. Remember to do commit. Now to do the commit, you can click this button. Once you click this button, it will enable the other two buttons, which is commit the transaction, and the cross button is to roll back. Now when you reopen the SQL Workbench, you can see all the listed table under the company. Let us check by writing one simple query. Select star from company.employee. Note that company here is the schema and employee is the table. So from the employee we are able to fetch the records. Let me close this and reopen the SQL Workbench. So as soon as you reopen, you can see under the company schema the tables which have been created. So now we'll get down to the business and we'll start writing the SQL queries. Let us now create the tables and records in the Oracle database. You can download the script which I have given in the attachment. So the script for the Oracle consists of the create table, insert records, and alter table. You can choose to execute all at once, or you can execute one by one. First you can create the tables, then you can insert the record, and finally you can alter the table. So let's see how to do it. So here I already have a separate create command and insert command. So I will first select the create command and then execute those table, and then I will do a insert command, and finally I will do the alter command. So first copy paste this create command. So you can selectively copy from your script the create command, select all and copy on the Oracle SQL developer. To select all, you can do Control A and then you can execute by clicking on the play button. So here we have around 6 tables, employee, and this is a create command. It's a create table command. Then we have department, department location, project, works on, and table dependent. What I do select Control A, select all, and click the play button, which is an execute. Okay. If you see here on the bottom part of the window, everything is successfully created. So basically our DDL command is successful. So now let us copy the content from the insert command file. So basically here what we are doing here, we are trying to insert some records. So like if you see employee, we are inserting some records here. So let us copy the entire content and paste it here. So let us do Control A and execute. And don't forget to commit. This is the commit session. This is the commit button. Okay. Now let us do some testing. Whether if the tables were created successfully or the records were created. So I will just issue a select star from employee, click Control Enter. So here on the bottom part you can see the results. So meaning our creation of table and the record insertion is successful. Now we will go through some SQL queries, some where condition and filtering and sorting. So friends, are you ready to write simple to the most advanced SQL queries? So let us begin now. So what I want you to do is to open the two file. First the select command file and second is the company DB file. In my select command file, I have a series of questions having simple to the most advanced SQL queries. We'll start writing the simple SQL queries and then we'll progress toward writing the complex SQL. So you have to also open the company DB file in parallel so that it is easier to understand the table structure and it is easy to write the SQLs. So this is my company DB file. I'll open the SQL developer now. Note that in our entire session, we will be writing our queries, SQL queries on the Oracle SQL developer. If you have installed MySQL, you can also write on the MySQL Workbench also. The SQL queries will be similar. But if you are working if you are professional, you will be most likely to work on the advanced database like Oracle or IBM DB2 because these are used in the enterprise applications and they have the capability of storing millions or billions of records. It's connecting now. Okay, so it's connected. Okay, in my select command 1 file, I have some series of basic questions and we will try to resolve one by one. My first question is retrieve all rows and all columns of employee table. In my company handout, this is the employee table and these are the rows. The way to do retrieve is the select command, select star from employee semicolon. Now here star is a method to select all the rows or to select all the columns and all the rows. So I just select this statement and execute it. You see, it has fetched 8 rows. Now here I would like to tell you two things. First, your command should always end with a semicolon. Second thing, for ease of understanding of the SQL, you should always do a formatting. Mean the select line will be on the first line. From mean the source of the table name should be on the second line. And the other statement which we are going to write in a few seconds should be on the third line. So we will always follow this formatting so it is easier for others to understand. Okay. So select star from employee. So we could have also written the query by actually mentioning the column name. Suppose my question is to select the first name and last name of employee. Okay. So here we will actually write the name of the column. First name is F name and last name is L name. Select it, execute. So it shows my first name and last name. Let's go to the next question. Retrieve details of all male employee who draw a salary of which is at least 30,000. Let us open the company handout file. So my first question, so in this question there are basically two things which is being asked. First, we want to select all the male employees. Okay, the column for male is sex, male and female. M stand for male, F stand for female. In other database, you may have like this. Your male may stand for 1, female may stand for 2. Okay, my column name is sex here. So let's write star from employee where x equal to male. Okay, now where is actually one of the method for the selection criteria. So here my selection criteria was male. I will select this one, execute my query. Okay, so we have all the male employees here. But if you see, I have a second question also, which is whose salary is at least 30,000. So what we do here, since there are two conditions here, so we put it here and column name salary. greater or equal to 30,000 semicolon. Select and execute it. Okay, before executing, so what all rows are we expecting here? If you see, John should be selected. Franklin's salary is 40,000. He should be also part of the criteria. Ramesh and James. So the only person to be left out is Ahmed. So execute our command. All right. So the results are as expected. Let's move on to the next command. Retrieve the details of all dependents of ESSN 334455. Let us open the company handout. The table name here is dependent. So my dependent table name is here. This is my dependent table name. And it is asking to retrieve the dependent with ESSN 333. So basically it should select first three rows. Okay. So let us write the SQL here. Select star from dependent. If you see here, while typing, the system will also show you display the table name dependent where ESSN equal to 355. Okay, here there is two things to note here. First is the dependent is actually in a small letter. For system, for the database, it doesn't matter. The cases doesn't matter. It can be uppercase, it can be a lowercase. Second thing, this ESSN is under quotes. Why it is under quote? Because it is a character and it's not a number. So if it is a character, it has to be under quotes. It should be included under the quotes. Execute our statement. It should return a 3 rows. So as expected, 3 rows. Likewise, retrieve details of project that are based out of Houston and Stafford. Retrieve details of project Houston and Stafford. Okay. Let us see the project table. So this is the project table and this is my location. Houston and Stafford are the two locations which is being asked. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Select star from project where P location is in Stafford or Houston. Stafford. So let us execute the first condition, Stafford location. Execute. So it shows 2. The second is Houston. So what we need to do here is, now there are 2 ways to execute both the conditions, Stafford or Houston. What we can do here is, we can write a OR condition. P location, Houston. Execute. So it select the 4 rows. So basically, what is the meaning of OR here is, your statement will be executed if either of the one condition is satisfied. So as a good practice, you have to always enclose this OR condition under the bracket. Now this same SQL can be executed by using the in command. So let me show you how to write the in command. Select star from project where P location in. So here you have to supply the value for which it is being asked, Stafford or Houston. Close the bracket and by semicolon. Execute. So if you see here, this SQL and this SQL gives you the same results. We will now go through some basic function given by SQL. First is in and not in, between, order by, and the last we'll go through like. So my query here is select star from project where P location not in Stafford and Houston. So what this query is going to do is going to return all the project whose location is actually not in Stafford and Houston. So another not in close by the bracket, we have to provide the values. The other query is select star from project where P location in Stafford and Houston. It is going to return all the project whose location lies in Stafford and Houston. Let us go through an order by clause. Select star from employee order by salary. So this is going to return all the employees in ascending order of the salary. Select star from employee order by salary descending. Now the difference between two query, order by salary and order by salary descending, is only the word descending. So descending mean, as it says, is going to return all the employees in order of their higher to lower salary. Now this like function acts as a wildcard character, and it is widely used in the natural language processing of the data science. So select SSN from employee where address like Houston, percentage. So if you see the address column, the address include all the details and including the city. So we're going to fetch all the employees whose address is in Houston. So we make the use of percentage. We'll go through this SQL query in more detail in the SQL developer. Let's suppose we want to find out the details of the project not in Stafford and Houston. So in our previous query, we have extracted those details from the project which are in Stafford and Houston. So basically, what does the in do here? In will look for those values which are under the enclosing bracket. So in this case, the column P location is looking for Stafford and Houston. And suppose if we want to find out those projects which are not in Stafford location, so we have to simply replace in with not in. So here I am replacing in with not in. So this is going to return all those records which are not in Stafford and Houston. So here it is. Let us move on to the next question. Retrieve the details of project that are based out of Houston or belongs to department number 4. So I will leave this query to you, so you can try to write the query. If you have any doubt, you can post on the forum. Next question. Display the name of the department and the year in which the manager was appointed. So here in the company DB, this is my department table, and here we are concerned about D name, which is the name of the department, and the manager start date. The question is asking the year from the manager start date, but here we are storing the actual date. So we have to extract here year. So let's see how to do it. Okay, let us now write the query. Select star from department, which is a table, where so here we have to select the two column, D name, which is the department, and manager start date. Let us first execute this query. Okay, in my output we are having the manager start date, but the question is asking to extract the year. So let's see how to extract. Now this Oracle and any database, they have their own inbuilt function to extract days, month, and year from the date. So the way to do is to char, comma, then here you have to put the format. So here I am using RRR, meaning we are extracting the year. But suppose if you want to fetch the month, then you can use it here, MM, which is double M. And if you want to fetch the day, you can put DD, which is a day. So here's my output. So the some inbuilt function which are available in MySQL and Oracle are like substring, NVL, instring, and like. So this you can explore further in the resources available on the various websites. Okay, next question is who live in Houston. So how you can do it? So we'll make the use of the like function. So this is my employee table. So we have to display the detail of all SSN whose address is in Houston. If you see my address column, it shows the complete address, but we are looking for those address which are having Houston. So now let us write the query here. Select star from employee where address. Let's see the question again. Where address is looking for Houston. So what we will do here, my column name is address, like we are going to put here Houston and then percentage. So this percentage act like a wildcard character. If let's say suppose if your Houston is at the last of the address, then you need to put only percentage Houston, and if it is in the middle, the percentage at the beginning and end of the string. And if suppose if Houston was the first in the address, so you have to put only Houston percentage. I hope it is clear to you on how to use this wildcard function, which is a percentage here, or you can call it as a percentile also. Since question is asking to display SSN, so we will just select the column SSN here. Next question, I think you can try yourself. Display the employees whose name begins with J. Before writing further, you have to first solve that question, and then you can move. Then you can look for the video. So here is the solution. Select star from employee, F name like J percentage. Since the question is asking the name should begin with J, so J is at the beginning. So we have to put the percentage at the last. You should not put percentage before J. If you put percentage before J, then it is going to return all those names which are having J. But now the question is where the name start with J. So that is why we have to put percentage at the last. Question number 9 and 10, I will leave it to you. You can practice it. Question number 11, display the SSN and fully concatenated name of all employees. So many a time we need to display the full name in a in one column. So in the employee table, okay, in employee table we have two columns, F name and last name. So we need to display together. The way to do is select the column name here in the select statement, F name, and then select last column, one more column, L name. Okay, so execute the query. So it is being displayed in the two separate column. So we have to concatenate. So it's a double line as full name or line John Smith. Suppose if you want the space between the two names, the way to do is again have some space and then concatenate and then put double line again. So you'll be having a space John Smith. Or if you want to space it with some line, with some dash. Next question, display the employee detail who does not have a supervisor. So let's open the company handout. Display the employee detail who does not have a supervisor. So here in this example, you can see only the last row doesn't have the supervisor, which is null. Okay, so select star from employee. I'm selecting all the rows and column. So for me, it's easier to find which column you have to refer. So who does not have the super SSN is the question. So my column name is super SSN, and then we have to find the one with the null value. So we have to make the use of, we cannot use here equal to null. We have to make the use of is null. Is null. So there's only one question, there's only one record. So here, for information, the null plays a very important role in any database. So many a time a lot of function will not work if we don't take care of the null values. So we will know when we go in the next section. Now let's say my question is to display all the employee whose super SSN is having some value. So what you will do, having some value mean definitely it will not have null. So we can make the use of is not null. Okay, so here in this employee, all the columns, all the rows are having super SSN and there is no value for null. Okay, my next question is display the SSN of employee sorted by their salary in ascending mode. So basically, let me open the handout. So it's asking to display the employees order by the salary. So order by means we have to display the employee first having the lowest salary, followed by the employee having the second lowest salary. But so we write the SQL. So again, I will start by displaying all the column and rows from employee. Okay. Now it is asking to order by salary. So order by salary. So here is my output. Okay, let's say suppose my question is to display all the employee in the descending order. By default, order by salary will always display the data in the ascending order. But if you want to have the descending order, let's see, start from employees where order by column name salary descending. So basically you have to just add up descending. So it will display the employee with the highest salary first, followed by the second highest salary. Next question in sort the works on table based on P number and hour. So here if you see it is asking to sort based on P number and hour. So now there are two columns, P number and hours, based on which we have to do the sorting. My works on table is, so here P number and hours. So we have to sort it based on P number and hours. So we'll make the use of two column in our order by clause. I'll start with displaying all the rows and column. So order by, simply add the column order by P number and hour. So how does it work is, first it will order by P number. So now if you see I have two record with P number 1, okay, and then it will order by hours within the P number value. Likewise, if you see under P number 2 there are 3 records and it is ordered by hours. I hope you understand. Let's say suppose I do order by P number but our hours should be in descending order. How are you going to write the query? I'll copy paste and then on the hours I will let descending. Alright, you see the P number 1, it is having 2 records where the hours with the maximum value is on the first line. Likewise, if you want to do order by P number in descending order, so what you will do, you will put descending here and then hours is in ascending order. By default it will be in ascending. You see my P number with 30 are having 3 records and my hours are order by. Maybe next question you can try yourself where you have to do order by ESSN, P number and hours. It's now time to move on to the advanced SQL queries, and the first topic is the aggregator, group by clause, and having clause. Let us take an example of a world famous top batsman Virat Kohli, and let us find out how much run he has scored in the cricket match. So here cricket table is our imaginary table, and where condition is player is Virat. So this query is going to return the total number of runs scored by Virat Kohli. The select sum is going to do a total of all the runs. Now if somebody asks you how much run he has scored by each country, so what we are going to do, we are going to use a group by clause. So here select country sum run from cricket table where player is Virat and group by country. So group by country is going to return all the countries and their runs. But suppose if you want to select the countries where Virat Kohli has scored more than 1000 runs, so the way to do is having clause, having some run more than 1000. So this query is going to return all the countries where Virat Kohli has scored more than 1000 runs. So here if you see, there are two filter conditions. One is the where clause and second is the having clause. So having clause you have to use along with the group, and where clause you already know is a normal filter condition provided by the SQL queries. So let us now go to writing the actual SQL query on SQL developer. Okay, so let us now perform some aggregation SQL. So the next question is display the average project hours. So let me open the company handout and let us go through the project hour table. So my project hour, if you remember, is under the table works on. Okay, and my column for the project hour is column hour. The question is asking to calculate the average project hour. Okay, so let us see how to write the SQL. Select star from works on. As usual, we are going to select all the columns so that it is easy to find out the actual column name. So my column name is hours. So let us select hours. And in the SQL, my function for the average is avg. Close the bracket. The column should be under the two bracket. Execute the statement. Okay. See the value 18.3333. But if you see the decimal is too high, so we can use another function called as round function. Round bracket close. If you want to round to two decimal places, you have to put comma 2 here. Execute. Okay, so 18.33. But again the output in round, so it doesn't look nice. So we can put an alias here as average hours. Oh, should be in double quotes. Alright, so 18.33. My next question is display the number of employees who do not have a manager. So let's see the company handout. This is my employee table. It is asking to display the number of employees who doesn't have a manager. Basically, we'll identify the employee who have a manager is based on the super SSN. If my super SSN doesn't have any value, like the last row against James, which is null, so he doesn't have a manager. So how do you going to display? But the question is asking the number of employees. So basically it's asking the count. So open the SQL. My table name is employee. So let's start from employees. Okay. Now we have to find those employees where super SSN is null. I think we have written similar kind of query before also. My number of record is 1, but how do you display the actual count? The function in the SQL is count, close the bracket, so count star, put the alias, number of of EMP, mean number of employee. So as expected, the result is 1. So I will skip the question number 17. Let's go to the question number 18. What is the highest salary of the female employee? So my table is select star from employee. Execute this. So it is asking the highest salary of the female employee. So the female and male is basically distinguished by column X. M stand for male, F stand for female. So my condition, where condition will be where sex is equal to female. Okay. And then it is asking the highest salary. So the highest salary is represented by the function max. And for the minimum salary, it is by min min. Salary as max female salary. You can put any alias as you like. Okay. Correcting the spelling, max female salary. So 43,000. So what is the least salary of the male employee? I think you can try this question. Display the number of employees in each department. Okay, before going through this question, I will explain you something about the having clause. Many times as an analyst, you would have to generate reports related to specific departments. In such scenarios, you would collect information on departments, products, assembly lines, or vendors, etc. SQL provides a very special clause called the group by clause for collecting facts about the certain categories. In my question, it is asking that display the number of employees in each department. Basically, in the employee table, we have this column department, and it is asking to display the number of employees by each department. I am having around 4 or 5 departments. Like department number 5, there are 4 records, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Department number 4 are having 2 records, and department number 1 is having only 1 record. So how do you go about writing the SQL? So let me write the SQL first, and then I will explain you each steps. Select start from employee. Executing this first. Okay, my point of interest here is department number, and it is asking to group by each department. So I will select my department number, and then we have to use the aggregate function, any aggregate function. In our case, it is the count on the star, and the column on which it is asking to aggregate will come under the group by clause. So it is group by department number. So let us execute this question, this SQL. All right. So we'll put an alias count of employee. Okay. So my department number 1 is having 1 count, 1 employee. My department number 5 is having 4 employees, and my department number 4 is having 3 count of employee. Display the number of male employees in each department. Okay, now the question is asking display the number of male employees in each department. So basically, in our employee table, we have male employees and we have female employees. So we have to first filter only the male employees, where x equal to male. So after filtering, we have to display the number of male employees. So we have to do count star and in each department. So let us put the department number and then we'll do group by department number. Okay. So this is the output. Next question is display the average, minimum, maximum hours spent in each project. So basically on the SQL we have to write as 3 aggregate function, which is an average, minimum and maximum. I think you can write this SQL and you need to practice also. Display the year-wise count of employees based on their year of birth. This is also almost similar SQL. Display the number of projects each employee is working on. Let us skip this also. Display the department number of those departments that has at least 3 employees. Okay. So we will try to write this SQL. Before that, let me explain you a basic of a having clause. My next question is display the department number of those departments that has at least 3 employees. Okay, here if you look at this question very closely, this is basically asking 2 questions. The first question is we have to display all those departments that has minimum of 3 employees. So basically we have to do an aggregate function on the department column, and then we have to display the department number. So with this I would like to introduce another clause called as the having clause. Suppose your manager asks you to count all the employees whose salary is more than the average salary in that particular department. Now intuitively you know that the 2 aggregate function would be used here. One is the count and second is the average. You decide to apply the where condition on the average salary of the department, but to your surprise the query fails. In fact, you should try writing this SQL before moving ahead. I will repeat the question again. Suppose that your manager asks you to count all the employees whose salary is more than the average salary in the particular department. Now how do you generate the answer? The answer for this will be by using the having clause. Basically, the having clause is typically used when you have to apply a filter condition on an aggregated function. This is because the where clause is applied before the aggregation takes place, and thus it is not useful when you want to apply a filter on the aggregated value. In other words, the having clause is equivalent to a where clause after the group by has been executed. I'll go back to the question again. Display the department number of those departments that has at least 3 employees. So let us do first group by department and let us do the count of the employee. Well, I have this SQL already. I can make the use of same SQL, copy paste. Just remove the where condition, this where condition. So select department number and count. Okay, so I have this department number and then I have the count also. So now it is asking the department should have at least 3 employees. So now here I will use a having clause. Having, as you remember, is almost similar to a where clause. So I will use having on the count where at least 3 employees. So equal to alright. So this is my output. Let's try some other questions. Among the people who draw at least 3,000 salary, what is the department wise average? Okay. Now again here are 2 questions. First we have to select the employees whose minimum salary is 30,000, and then we have to do average. So let's try to write it. Select star from employee. Select star from employee where salary is greater or equal to 30,000. Execute this. Okay, now this is my available data. Now it is asking to do the average salary by department. So our aggregate function is on the salary and the function is avg, and group by will be department. So d number, avg salary, and group by department number. Okay. So with this, you can also use the function order by clause, descending or ascending. Suppose you want to display the average salary in the order of ascending, like order by. So you can do 2, order by 2. Okay. So basically order by 2 here means it actually refers to the column number. My first column is 1 is department number. My second column is average salary. So it will be 2. Now if they ask you to do order by department number, you can simply change it to 1 because the first column is department number. Execute this one, order by 1. In this session, we will go through nested SQL. A typical database is composed of many tables. Sometimes a database may contain around hundreds of tables or sometimes thousands of tables. So that is where a nested SQL come into play, where we need to extract the data by joining the multiple table or by writing query in such a way that the data is extracted from the different tables. So now there are two kinds of nested SQL. First is the joins and second is the nested queries and subqueries. Joins we will cover in the next session. In this session, we are going to study in detail nested queries. So in this example of a SQL, we are joining the two tables. Basically, we are fetching the data from one table based on the data from the other table. If you see the first query, select star from employee. So here we are fetching all those employee whose department name is administration. So the link between the department and the employee table is by D number in employee and D number in department. The second SQL is exactly the same as the first SQL. The only difference is that it is more efficient than the first SQL, and it is usually used in those applications where it has millions and billions of data. Now this is the complex nested query. So this query we are going to study in the upcoming sessions. So here we are joining the two table, and then we have used the nested queries to fetch the actual data as per the business user. Let us now focus on the next topic, which is nested SQL. Well, you know, in a database, there are multiple tables. As we have seen in the company handout, like this one, there are employee table, department location, and so on. Now, suppose if your manager asks you to fetch the data, to fetch the details from the employee and from the department table with a particular, for the department number 5. Let's say, take the example that department number 5. How you are going to do this? The way to do this is via using the nested SQL. Now the nested SQL are of two kinds. First the join and second in the nested queries or subqueries. The join we will take a look into the next session. For now we will focus on the nested queries and subqueries. So basically the nested subqueries are typically used when you have to select a column from one table based on the filter condition from the another table. In such cases, you have to put a subquery inside the where clause instead of a certain value. Now here, the subquery is basically similar to the normal SQL query. We'll go through some example. Let's take a question and we'll focus on this question. Let us now focus on the question number 28. Display the F name of employees working in the research department. Okay, now let me open the handout. Now it is asking the F name being the first name of the employee who is working in the department research. Okay, now if you see the employee table and department table, what is the link between the two tables? The only link between the two tables is D number. Here department number is denoted by D number and here it is actual D number. So he is working in the research department. So my SQL will be something like this. Select F name from employee where D number equal to select Now this is the subquery. Select D number from department where D name is equal to research. Order by F name. Let us execute this query here. Okay, what I will do, I'll break down this query into two queries. Let's see. Let me first select F name from employee. So here is my F name from employee. Now my second query, my second SQL was select D number from research department. Okay, the number is 5. So basically we want to select the employee name which belong to department number 5. So the way to do is to do the separate selection and then put the value here. So these are my employee. Now if you don't want to do this separately, okay, then you have to do a nested subquery. So let us write the same SQL in another way. Where D number equal to select D number from department where D name equal to research and bracket close. So this is my called as the nested SQL or the inner query, or can say subquery. Note that it has to be always enclosed in the closing bracket. Now select all and execute. Oh, spelling is wrong. D number. Okay. Now this and this SQL and this SQL gives the same result. So this is all about the nested subqueries. Let's look at the next question. Display the F name and salary of employee whose salary is more than the average salary of all employee. Okay. So how are you going to do this? Select F name salary from employee where salary is more than the average salary of all employee. Salary from employee. Okay. Now if you look at this SQL very closely, the inner SQL or a subquery is going to give us the average salary of all the employee. If I execute this SQL separately, let us look at what is the value here. Okay, the value is 35125. Now in the main SQL, select F name salary from employee where salary. So basically all those employee whose salary is more than 35125 will be displayed. If I execute this SQL as a whole, you see, so all this salary is more than the average salary. Now here we can do order by, you can use order by clause, order by salary, ascending or descending in any way. This is my output. Okay, now let us move on to the next question. Which projects have the least number of employees? Okay, this question looks very small, but this will cover all the basic scenario that we have learned till today. So which projects have the least number of employees? Let us now first open the company handout. So we'll focus on the project, the table works on table, because it is having a employee number, and then we have project number. So it is asking which project number are having the least number of employees. Okay, so let us see how to write the SQL. First we will select all the column from the table works on, select star from works on, execute it. Now let us do group by project number and do the count of the employee. So P number and count star from works on, group by P number. So this query will give us the count of employee by each project number. Okay. Now if you look at this query, the project number 1 and project number 3 are having 2 employee, while the other projects are having 3 employee. So basically we need to find out the project 1 and 3 only. Okay. So now my next step is to find the least number of employees. How to do it? Select min. So what we'll do, we'll put as alias here CNT, then we'll select CNT from, close the bracket. Okay. Now see my SQL here. What we are doing here, we are selecting the minimum value of count from this query. So it will give us 2. Okay. Now, so we have to select all the projects where the employee count is 2. Okay. Now let us again write another query. So let's works on where we will group by P number, we do count star. So basically our objective is to select the project where the count star is equal to 2, having count star equal to 2. Okay, so the result is as expected, but I don't want to hard code the value 2. So what we will do, in place of 2 we'll replace the query below equal to. So just put the same query in the closing bracket and then execute. So here is the output. In this session, we will go through the concept of joins. Joins are a way to retrieve the data from the multiple tables. A typical database is made of around hundreds and thousands of tables, and among them there are millions and billions of records. Now there are many scenarios where we need to fetch the data from multiple tables, and that is where the joins come into the picture. Now there are 4 kinds of join: inner join, left join, full join, and right join. Full join is hardly ever used, so we'll focus on inner join, left join, and right join. Inner join, it returns back all the data that has a match to the join condition from both sides of the table. It is basically an intersection of sets on the join column if you visualize in terms of the Venn diagram. So this is the syntax of the inner join, where there are 2 tables, and with some where condition like table 1 column X and table 2 column Y, we have to fetch the data by joining both the tables. The second syntax is almost similar to the first, it's just that so there we have A column X equal to B column Y. So we'll be writing these queries in the upcoming sessions. Now outer join, there are 2 kinds of outer join. One is left outer join and second is the right outer join. Now in the left outer join, it will return all the rows from the left table irrespective of whether there is a matching key on the right side table. If the matching key on the right side table is not found, then it will return the null value. So the syntax is as follows. On the other hand, the right join, it is almost similar to the left join. It's just that the table position is exchanged from left to right. So you can see the syntax here also. Now full outer join, here in the full outer join, it will return all the rows from both the tables. So in this example, like company and department, it is going to return all the rows from both the tables, whether there is a matching key or whether there is not a matching key. So in the next session, we will go through writing the SQL queries for join. Okay, now let us write some SQL for the join conditions. Okay, my question is display the SSN, last name, and the name of the department of all the employees. Okay, let us open the company handout. So this is my last name, and this is my SSN, and this is my name of the department. So the only common column in between these two tables is the department number. So let us see how to write the SQL. Select star from employee inner join department on what is my column name, D number and D number, on D number equal to D number. Execute this one. Okay. Question is asking to fetch the name, SSN and the name of the department. So let us put the column name here, L name, SSN and D name. Execute. Okay, so this is my results. Okay, now the same SQL can be written in another way, which is a little bit less complex. So what you have to do here, what I will do here, I will rewrite the query again. Select star from employee comma dependent where, so here you have to put the actual column name, the join condition, which is called as join condition, the number. Select this one, sorry, the department. Execute. Copy the column name. So both the query give the same result. So you can use either one of the query in your SQL. Okay, let us now see the next question. Display the SSN, last name and name of the project of all the employees. So let us see the company handout. So it's asking the last name, SSN and the name of the project of all the employees. So basically if you see, this project table is linked to the table works on by way of the project number, and then this works on table is linked to the employee table by way of ESSN and SSN. So basically we have to join the three tables, which is employee, works on and project. So let us see how to write the SQL. So select star from employee inner join works on SSN equal to ESSN, inner join project on P number equal to P number. So execute. So the question is asking to display last name, SSN and the name of the project, which is P name. Execute. So this is as expected. The same query can be written in a different format as we have written here. So select star from, put all the tables here and separate each by comma, works on and project where. Now you have to put the join condition, works SSN equal to ESSN and P number equal to P number. Execute and then select only those columns which are needed, and name, SSN and P name. Okay, one important concept that you need to understand that there might be a case where the column name, where the actual name of the column is same in different table, like employee and works on may have the same column name. Then how do you differentiate between those columns? The way to differentiate is the alias name. So we should have a practice of always using the alias. So I will rewrite the query again by the help of alias name. So I copy paste the query. What I will do here, employee I will denote as E, works on W, and project is P. So for all the columns, you have to address the column by the alias name of the table. So in case of SSN belongs to call employee table, so it will be E.SSN. ESSN column belongs to works on table, so it will be W.ESSN. P number belongs to project table, so it will be P.P number, and this column belongs to W. So execute this query. So it is always a good practice to use the alias name. Even in the select statement also we can use the alias name. So L name is E dot, SSN belongs to employee, and P name belongs to project, P dot S last name, and SSN as project name. Okay. Let us move on to the next question. Display the SSN, last name, dependent name of all the employees. So here it's asking the name of the dependent. So let's see the company handout. So here we have a name, here we have an employee table, and then here we have a dependent name. If you see, the relation between employee and dependent is ESSN, and this is the name of the dependent. But note one more thing here is that not all the employees have dependent. So how do you do this? So we can do by two ways. So let me write the SQL. Select star from employee, dependent, where SSN equal to ESSN. Give it this one. So last name, SSN, and dependent name. If you see here, it is fetching only 3 employee detail. But if you want to fetch all the details of the employee, then what do you do? So for that you have to write the left outer join. So select L name, SSN, dependent name from employee, left join, dependent on SSN equal to ESN. So execute this one. Alright, now if you see here, it fetches the details of all the employees and the name, and wherever the relation, the dependent name is not found, it will display the null value. So same goes to the right outer join. In this session, we will go through SQL with Python and R. For a data scientist or analyst, it is important that they should be able to access all the sources of data, including RDBMS database, so that they can extract data directly from database, do some analysis and visualization. If needed, they can do DML operation also. The traditional way was to extract data from database into CSV or text file and upload this data as a data frame into Python or R. However, this can be very time consuming, and it can be done directly by connecting to database from Python or R. The interaction between Python, R and database makes for good business insight. Now, steps for RDBMS connection with Python and R are as follow. First and foremost, install and import the libraries for database like Oracle or MySQL. Create connection using user ID and pass schema, port of database, and IP address of the server where database resides, and start writing the SQL queries using the SQL engine created in step 2 for communicating with the database. So here is the process flow. First of all, the developer will write a program in Python or R console to communicate with the database and give the command to database. Database on the other hand will take the request and give back the data. Now Python or R console will feed the data into pandas library if it is Python and into ggplot libraries if it is R. Now this library can be used to extract several kinds of plot from which the business user can make a good business insight and can do some data analysis and visualization. In this session, we will go through Anaconda installation. So first of all, you can go to anaconda.org, then click on the download Anaconda button, then scroll down and then click on the download button. So here you will find three options: Windows, Mac OS and Linux. So based on your operating system and the bit size, you can click on the installer. So as soon as you click, it will immediately start downloading. In our session, it is recommended that you have to use Python 3.7 or more than that. So it will take around 3-4 minute time to download. So once it is done, you can click on the downloaded file, which will be exe file. So when the download has been completed, I click on the exe file and then click on the next. Accept the license agreement, then install for just me. Then you can change the path here, destination path. Then in the advanced option, you can choose add Anaconda 3 to my path environment variable, or you can also leave it. So here I am leaving it. Note that I have also attached a document with this exercise, so you can also refer to document for each step-by-step process for the Anaconda installation. So after clicking on the install, it will start downloading the files, executable files. So it will take something about 15 to 20 minutes to download all the files, because here the Anaconda will extract all the libraries, packages for the different environment. So once it is done, click on the next. So here our installation is successful. So click on the next. Click on the finish. So once it is done, you can go through your application folder and then you can look for the Anaconda installer. So once I open, it will take about 1 to 2 minute time to fully open on the browser. So meanwhile, there are some documentation attached with the Anaconda installer. If you want, you can go through those documents on how to use the Anaconda. So here it is starting the Anaconda for the first time. Remember that you have to be patient. It will take around 2-3 minute time or maybe 5 minute time also to start the Anaconda. So here you can choose to select. So here you can see there are different environments for Python programming. There are Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook, then there is a console for R programming also. So for now I will launch my Jupyter Notebook. So let us see if the installation is successful or not. So we will write some program on Jupyter Notebook. Note that in all our upcoming lectures, we will be using either Jupyter Notebook or either Jupyter Lab. So you can open both of them and you can try your own coding. You can do some R&D. Here you select the type of the HTML you want. I select Google Chrome. Okay, so it's already open. So here it will display all the folders of your system. So it shows desktop, document, download, favorites, file. You can choose any one of the folder and you can start working. So I'm choose now here the new, you can select one of the notebook, one of the coding console. So it will open in another browser. So let us first write, let us test the installation is successful or not. So we can write a simple program, the first program I'm writing, which is a print hello Python. Now to execute this statement, there are two ways. First, you can click the run button, and the second way you can execute with the help of the keys, which is Control plus Enter. You have to press together Control plus Enter. So here I have done Control plus Enter. Okay, so we are able to print successfully. So here you can rename your notebook, my program. Now to write the SQL queries, we have to make the use of SQL df function, SQL df, and we have to write the SQL queries within the enclosing bracket. So select star from market fact. So as mentioned before, this market fact act like a table, and for Python it is a data frame. So I want to select only 5 rows, limit 5. So let's see the output now. Okay, so here is my output. So 5 rows. So likewise, to do the count, you have to make a use of count function here. Count star, execute. So 83, so we don't need limit 5 here. Okay. So my output is 8399. Let us verify from the Python program. So for the Python program, market fact info, execute it. So it gives you 8399 rows. Along with that, it will give you the information about the other columns. So market fact underscore info is a Python program, and select count star for market fact is via the use of SQL. So in the SQL you can also write the where condition. I will copy paste my previous code, paste it here. So let me select all those. Let me see how many records are having sale more than 500. So what I will do, I will put where sales greater than 500. Let's see the output. So I have 4029 records with sales more than 500. So likewise, you can write other where condition. We can play with the where condition, filter condition in your Python console. So let's move ahead. Let us see how to join the table. Now the Python way to join the table is as follow: mark prod, let's say py pd.merge. So we are going to use a merge function which belongs to pandas library. Note that pd represents pandas library and merge is a join condition in Python. So I'm going to use join the two table, market fact prod dimension table. How to join it? By way of, I want to do inner join here, inner join, and what is the unique column? On. So my foreign key in market fact was prod id, which is a primary key in product dimension data frame. So let us execute, and then we will see the output, the 5 rows. So here is the output. The two data frame has been merged together. Now let us do the same thing by the help of SQL df function. So I'm going to do select star from the two table, market fact. Let's put alias m here, inner join. The other is prod dimension, alias is p on m dot prod id equal to p dot prod id, semicolon, and then we will also do, okay, let us assign to another data frame which is market prod SQL equal to. So let's see the output here. Okay, execute. So here is the output. So now what happens here is that we have assigned market prod underscore SQL having the data of both market fact and product dimension. Now this market underscore prod underscore SQL act as a table. So on this table we can write our SQL queries. Let's see here. SQL df here. So I will do here count here. Let's see the count of rows here. Select count star from market prod SQL. Semicolon, close the bracket. Let's see the output here. So 8399 rows. So now I can play with this data here. So I can write some group by function here. Let's see product category. Then mention here group by product category. Let's see the output here now. So here is the output here. You can also mention the alias here as count product as prod atg output. So with the help of SQL df function, you can write your SQL queries on Python for the data analysis. You might be thinking, if we can write the same SQL queries on MySQL or Oracle database, then why do we need to write the SQL queries on Python? It is because Python is a very powerful programming language for a data analysis and for a data scientist. In the next session, we will be doing some plots and we will see how we can do data analysis with the help of the plots. In this session, we will do some plots and we will do some data analysis with the help of the plots. So for that, we are going to use market underscore prod underscore SQL data, which is a data frame for Python, and for us, it acts like a table. So let me see some records first. So select star from market underscore prod underscore SQL that we have created by joining the two tables. I want only 5 rows and put semicolon. So this is the 5 rows. Okay. Now in Python, to do the plot, we can make the use of one of the two libraries. One is matplotlib that we have already imported. The other library, which is a very powerful library for plots, is seaborn. So I'm going to import seaborn here now. Import seaborn as SNS. So import seaborn as SNS. Imported. Then we will set a style here. SNS set underscore style. You want white grade. This is a common standard in the Python program, white grade. Okay. Now let us do some plot. So first of all, I will do a distribution plot here. This plot bracket. So I'm going to use our market prod SQL. And then I want on shipping cost. Note that here I am doing the visualization just to show you the power of the magic of using Python. If you want in detail analysis, you can join my other course, which is data analysis on NumPy and Pandas. Now to plot, we have to use the plot show function here. Okay, execute now. You see the output here. So this is my distribution plot. Here you can see the most of the shipping cost is between 0 to 15. And as the shipping cost is increasing, the number of record count is decreasing. So of course, this kind of plot you cannot do on MySQL or Oracle database. And that is why we need Python. Let me show you some other plots. Let's see on sales. Okay, here is my output here. So even the sales which are at lower range has a higher values. Let me show you another plot, which is a box plot. So I want to do on a order quantity. So here's my box plot here. So what is the significance of this box plot? It is that the most of the quantity of the order lies between 20 to 30 and the median value is around 25 here. Let us see how we can study the relationship between the two variables. To do that, I'm going to use SNS joint plot, SNS joint plot. So name of the variables here, sales. So intuitively, if the sale is increasing, the profit should also increase. So let us see whether this is really true here. So I'm going to draw a scatter plot. So the table is market prod SQL and plt.show. Let's see the output here. Okay, here's my output. So if you see, as my profit is increasing, my sale is also increasing. But then there are some cases where the profit is decreasing, but the sale is increasing. So this is the trend this is not the correct trend, and it is something to be flagged to the market, to the businessman. So let's do another plot here. So I'm going to add another cell. Let me add some more cells. Okay, so I'm going to do a box plot based on the product category and the profit. So box plot here, my X variable will be product category. So let us see how the product category relates to the profit. Y equal to profit, and data we are going to take market prod SQL. To show, we will do plot show. So here we got the error, and the error says that there are duplicate column. Yes, it can be true because we have merged the two tables. So to do that, I'm going to create another table or another data frame, and we will select profit and product category in the another data frame. So my new table name is marketford_1, and then I'm going to fetch the values from select star from this one. So I want only two columns, let's say three columns: sales, profit, and product category, because we want to focus on product category and profit and sales. And then I want only few rows where profit is between 0 and 1000. SQL function. Okay. Now let us use the same code and replace the data. So let's replace this with _1, and let us see the output now. So here's my output. So you can see there we are having three product category: office supply, furniture, and technology. So the profit margin in case of technology product category is the highest, followed by furniture and then office supplies. So you can see with the help of Python and the SQL queries, it's very easy to analyze the data. Now to analyze the same kind of data on your MySQL or Oracle database, you might be needed to write a few lines of codes, and then it will not be that intuitive to the users, to the end users or to the business user. So in the next session, we will see how to connect with the MySQL database or Oracle database, how we can create the tables, and how we can fetch the records from the database directly on Python. In this session, we will go through connecting the database, which is a MySQL or Oracle database. So I'm going to take MySQL as an example. So to do that, we will make the use of py-MySQL library, which is an library to connect to the MySQL database. Likewise, for Oracle, we are having different library, and for Postgre database, there are different libraries. So let me import first. Okay. Now to connect, we have to have this function, connect function, where you need to mention the host. So for our MySQL database, the host is localhost, and if it is a server, then you have to give here IP address of the server database. user is the username of the database, which is root in our case, password for the database, and DB. So which schema you want to connect? So this is that database. So I want to connect to my company database. So if you see on the MySQL, you can see the username is root, localhost is my host name, and the port is 3306. So let us execute this one. So it has been executed. Now I want to fetch the data from the employee table, which is built in the company database. To do that, we will make the use of C equal to connect and dot cursor. So COON is the variable where we have stored the information of the connection of the database, and cursor is used for fetching the data into a memory variable. So let us execute. So all the data has been stored in the employee underscore data variable. Now this employee underscore data is tuple. So let's see the data type of this. Print type employee data. So this is of type tuple, but since on Python it has to be a data frame in order we can write a SQL queries. So we'll convert this tuple into a data frame. So converted. Let us see the output now. So here's my output. It gives the 5 rows. But the thing to note here is that it will not display the name of the columns. So you have to explicitly define the column name. So here we will define the column name pd.dataframe list employee underscore table. So you have to mention the column name here. F name belong to the first column, minute belong to the second column, last name belongs to the third column, and likewise D number belongs to the last column. So let us execute now. So here's the output. So the column has been tagged to each column. The column name has been tagged to each columns. Now here I'm going to make a function so that it is easy for us to fetch the data. So this is my function here, where I am passing the parameter, which is the connection parameters here, and query is another in parameter where we'll pass our actual DML commands. Let's execute. Okay. Now here I'm going to create a table which is employee underscore info1, because I changed the name. I already have info1, info2 with 4 variables: employee underscore SSN char9, age integer, race is char20, nationality is char20. So I'm going to store in a memory variable which is create underscore user underscore table. Okay. Now this memory variable I'm going to pass in the function which we have created here, execute underscore query. Now here there are 2 parameters. One is the connect parameter, which have the information about the connection strings, and second is the variable where we are passing a DML command or a DDL command. So let's execute. So it's now executing. So it has been executed. So let us go back to the MySQL database and let's see if employee underscore info2 has been created. Enter the password. Okay, so here you can see on the left side under the table there is an employee underscore info2 which we have created just now. So I'm going to fetch it here. Let's see how many records. So it's fetching. So 0 row return. Now we are going to insert some records from Python. Let's see how we can do it. To do that, I am having another variable which is a insert record, and I'm inserting 2 records. So this DML command I'm going to pass here in the execute query function. Just pass the insert record and execute. created. So query is executed successfully. Oh, let's change the table name here because my table name was 2. Execute again here, and let us now execute on the MySQL database. Let's re-execute this query. Let's see if the data is created. So there are 2 data which is already inserted. So this is how we can play with Python, and we can play with MySQL, and we can take the advantage of the interaction between the two systems.